Welcome back to Gear of the Common Game. Today, in deck number 910, we're going to talk about Sarevok, Deathbringer. Y'all correct me if I pronounce that wrong. This is the very first Baldur's Gate commander I think I've done. Anyway, this is the one that really struck me. So for 3 and a black, we get a human knight. At the beginning of each player's instep, if no permanents left the battlefield this turn, that player loses X life, where X is Sarevok's power. So, excuse me, what we want to do is we want everybody besides us. We want to make sure that we can have a permanent leave the battlefield where we don't lose life. But then again, we also want to pump up Sarevok's power. Now, there was several ways to build this, which is what appealed to me. Now, you get to choose a background as a second commander. So the background I chose was Clan Crafter. Then our commander will have 2 sack an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on it, and draw a card, which is going to bump up Sarevok's power to where if something didn't leave the battlefield, they're going to take more and more damage. So, and it gives us an outlet to make sure that we have a permanent leave the battlefield, sacrificing an artifact. So that right there told me we want to play heavy artifacts because we want things to sacrifice, right? And so some of the first things that popped in my mind was those Miles of the Wellspring. It does a thing when it enters, and it does a thing when it leaves. Wait a minute, no. Oh yeah, or it is put in the graveyard. Workshop Assistant. I mean, not an amazing blocker, but it does when it dies, you get another artifact back. In addition to stuff like Mirror Retriever. But something happened along the way, and I thought, I don't remember which card it was that got me down there. Oh yes, I do. Efficient Construction. You cast an artifact, you get a Thopter. And I was like, well, I'm going to have a whole lot of artifacts, you know. I'm running stuff like Cranial Plating and Manifold and Voltaic Key, plus your normal regimen of mana, which is a bunch, you know, Soul Ring, Ethereum Sculptor, Dimir Signet, Silver Mirror, Charcoal, and Sky Diamonds. Whoa. Sky Diamond wanted to fly. Arcane Signet, Foundry Inspector, Dimir Cluestone, Midnight Clock, Sisay's Ring, Key Rune. Yeah, heavy on the artifact mana because, you know, late in the game, you don't need them so much. You like Navigation Orb. This is Kodama's Reach or Cultivate. Yeah, it costs 2 more mana, but that's basically what it is, and it's a permanent that can leave the battlefield. So is Burnished Heart, you know, it's a great card. But I got stuck. on the Thopter thing. I don't know why. Like Sharding Sphinx, an artifact creature you control, you get a Thopter. Okay. Now, Sharding Sphinx makes blue Thopters, which to the Skull Clamp does not care what color the Thopters are. We're going to be drawn. You know, Thopter Spy Network. If you control an artifact, you get a Thopter. Whenever 1 or more artifact creatures you control deal damage to a player, draw a card. Well, okay. But all the way to Access Denied, counter a spell, get that many Thopters. Hangerback. I mean, yeah. The idea is it never to die, but you just keep pumping it, and then if it does die, you get a ton of Thopters. Tezzeret, just +1 make a Thopter. And then, if you happen to get to the emblem, the 0 is not bad either. Whirler Maker. Now, I know what you're thinking. Whirler Maker. This is 4 mana is an awful lot to invest to make a Thopter. But what if we had the 4 to spend? Good buddy of mine, Danny, donated the Isochron Scepter to the channel, and this seemed like a perfect deck. Now, I know the odds of getting that dramatic reversal are pretty low, but if you can get the dramatic reversal with the scepter, all that artifact mana, I mean, it just becomes a thing, and you've got all this mana to do stuff. And I mean, yeah, there's also the Staff of Domination in there, but that's not what this is about. You know, Psy Master Thopterist. We're cast an artifact, get a Thopter, and then it provides us with a sack outlet for our artifacts. Inspired Sphinx, just mana. Here again, it's 4 mana, make a Thopter. Retrofitter Foundry. This is kind of a big one if you get the dramatic scepter off. Yeah, but mechanized production that's the card that inspired me the most here, because Thopters, right? 8 Thopters? Okay. And we are in black, so there are things like the Disciple of the Vault artifact, Disciple of the Vault, great now for all the treasures people are making. And then the enchantment. Now, this is a background. It's not our commander's background. It is still legendary enchantment. It's still allowed in the deck, but artifact or creature you control is put in the graveyard. So I foresee the Agent of the Throne going into a lot of aristocrat style decks. We're going to protect it by the Lightning Greaves that Danny donated. But just here, let's go through some card draw, because that wasn't enough card draw already. Of course, we have our Thoughtcast and Ambitions Cost, Sign in Blood, and Painful Lesson, because we got to try to get to this stuff before we get to it. Sensei's Divining Top, while not card draw, it is card selection, and I don't have to sell y'all on Sensei's Divining Top. It's a great card. Here's a weird one. Ethereum Abomination. And I know you're like, what? Yes, this deck could be maximized. I know all my decks could be, but y'all know I'm more about the fun anyway. But I kind of like the Ethereum Abomination, and I don't think I ever had. I think this is the first deck it's ever been in. It took me 910 decks to get it in there, but Pilgrim's Eye is another good one. Wears a clamp well after it's done its thing. It's also a flying blocker if you need it. Filigree Familiar enters and leaves, does a thing. We've got Felden's Cane just in case. There's a lot of mill strategies out there. Now, I'm intentionally weighted these 2 cards to show you. Felden's Cane, we call it a nombo. 2 cards that definitively work against each other. But what do we got? A 1% chance of any one card. So, I don't know that it's that big a deal that Mirrodin Besieged. Obviously, we want to have the 15 or more artifacts in the graveyard. That is more likely than us drawing the Felden's Cane. So, both of them are in there for separate reasons. I know they work against each other, but still. Like Skeleton Shard, in case we want one of those artifact creatures back. Maybe we want to Burnished Heart forever. Mimic Vat. I like me some Mimic Vat. I especially like artifacts that say, mana tap, do a thing, in a deck that, could possibly untap a lot. Treasure Chest. I wanted something in here for treasure. this is pretty much it. This is all of it. But yeah, the two, whatever you've got to produce treasure. If I had had the expensive black treasure WinCon, I probably would have built around the treasure aspect. Also great with Disciple of the Vault. But now we have got our removal. Now, we just need creatures to leave the battlefield. Astarion's Thirst here is absolutely perfect. Yes, it's 4 mana, but it is an instant. You get to exile that creature, so you don't have to worry about it anymore unless it's their commander. But then, you get to put 1/1 counters on your commander, which we want to make bigger anyway, where X is the power. So that's pretty sweet. Of course, Feed the Swarm, Terror, Doomblade, Negate, Vapor Snag, because we just care about it leaving the battlefield. We got to kill it. To Vapor Snag, Run Away Together. That art's just amazing. And then Extinguish All Hope, because there are times when you got to push the button. Yes, here is the part that some folks don't like. And tutors. I have 2 tutors in the deck. I figured if I was going to run tutors in any deck, it's got to be this one. Mainly because I don't have a whole lot of removal, and but I have Diabolic Tutor and Profane Tutor. Because it does, just off the top of my head, it seems a little fragile. This seems like one of those decks that's, I'll let you know, I'm going to play it tonight. But it seems like one of those decks that's going to do its thing, try to do its thing as fast as possible, and if someone else interferes, that's a problem. But anyway, we have lands. Treasure Vault. I mean, here again, that's you can make a whole lot of treasure with it. Foundry of the Council is going to make a couple of Thopters. We have our Miss Vault Bridge. I wish I'd have had the 2 or 3 more artifact lands. The single color, the blue, the black, and the colorless. That would have been cool. Evolving Wilds. Had to use that version. Terramorphic Expanse. Morphic Pool. Dimir Guildgate. Dimir Aqueduct. Dismal Backwater. Dwaral Refuge. Submerged Boneyard. Path of Ancestry. Vivid Creek. Black Dragon Gate and Sea Gate, because you remember we have that navigation orb that goes and finds gates. So we have a total of 3 gates if that happens. But that is it for Sarevok. Almost sounds like a Vulcan name. To me, anyway. Oh, that's right, we have 2 commanders. So, that is what we've got. I know that I have been away a while. Let me tell you why. This is a very, very hugely busy time. My entire house is under construction. And there's going to come a time where I have to vacate for them to finish and do all the big stuff. We're not there yet, but we will be. Secondly, the LGS that I am opening is, I got the keys, we're in full swing. If y'all want to see a LGS built from nothing up, jump over to the store's channel, Kenneth's Collectible Games, where I am filming and documenting every step of the way, from the day I got the keys until we open. And then it'll be your standard YouTube channel for LGS. But it's coming along quite nicely, so my time is pretty much divided. And I'm going to try my best to keep up with the channel here and you guys, because I've got 8 more decks built here. I've got 8 more Baldur's Gate decks already finished. Because that first couple days I was in the zone. But anyway, you'll have to forgive the room. There's a lot of stuff in here that normally doesn't belong. So We're going to go put 910 on the wall. Finish that row. Sarevok. Tell you sounds Vulcan, does it not? But that is what we have got for today. The upside is, once the shop gets open, all the extra boxes of cards and product and stuff that I've been getting in for the past 3 years, this room will be a lot neater. And decks 601 through 700 will be easier to get to. Because a lot of times when we roll decks and it's over there, we'll just be like, there's too much stuff in the way, roll again. But anyway, that's where we're at. Big update. So just wanted to tell y'all, thank y'all so much for being patient with me. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.